For half a millennium, humanity has lived among the stars in darkness. Humans reached the stars long ago, building a republic of high technology and universal emancipation. Then they fought over it, squandered it, and finally lost it. Now a new dark age has descended upon humanity, for the greatest of civilizations has fallen, leaving ignorance and fear scattered among the ruins of many worlds. Even the stars are dying. Then from the ashes of our ruin, Vladimir halted our decline. Proclaimed emperor by popular decree, he united the known worlds of human space under his cunning and charismatic rule. Vladimir created the Great Charter, declaring how the powers of rulership would be divided and how his successors would be elected. 5 scepters from Mother Church, protector of our souls, 5 for the Merchant League, heralds of our past, and 5 for the noble houses, holders of our future. But each of these powers wished to rule it in their own way, and schemed to gain complete power at any price. Vladimir's military might convinced the noble houses to concede his rule, for they could not stand in battle before this master tactician. The Merchant League, last remnants of the Second Republic, made little pretense of their disdain for the Charter of Vladimir, but they accepted his rule nonetheless. Fearful of his popularity among the people, the Patriarch of the Universal Church accepted Vladimir's rule on the condition that the Church present him the crown, thus ensuring their ritual role in approving all his successors. Vladimir's coronation as the first emperor of the known worlds took place on Byzantium Secundus, which had been declared the Imperial throne world. In the year 4550 AD, Vladimir crowned himself with his own hands and died. An agonizing death at the hand of unknown powers. With Vladimir's death, his great union fell apart. Noble house turned on noble house, igniting a war for the spoils of Vladimir's empire. The commonwealth of humanity was shattered, overcome by iron-fisted feudal lords. As the suns fade, so dies humanity's hope.
Hello everybody, it is me, Postmodern Cowboy, and I have another treat for you today. This is Emperor of the Fading Suns. Emperor of the Fading Suns is a two-dimensional space strategy, grand strategy video game. I forget who developed it. It doesn't matter. It's quite old. I believe it's the early 90s. It is a grand strategy game set in hypothetical far future, which has gone medieval, has gone like high medieval slash gothic in its aesthetic. Very similar thematically, perhaps, to Dune by Frank Herbert. Some of you may have seen the movie that came out last year.
Smile, Gurney.
I am smiling.
The Emperor asks us to bring peace to Arrakis. House Atreides, accept!
This is a similar concept. You know, I'm going to start it and talk as I start it. So we'll play the historical setting. There are, to begin, 5 noble houses. 5 noble houses vie for control. The Emperor has been deceased. So you have to have a human player. That's what's happening here. I'm going to play as House Al-Malik. And the breakdown goes as follows. Li Halan, they are the French. Hazat, they are the Spanish. Decados, they are the Russians. Hawkwood, they are the English. And Al-Malik, they are the Arabs, or at least the Islamic faction. So we're going to play as Al-Malik and go next. Let's leave everyone on. So the Plague is on, Rebellion's on. I'm not going to do play by email, although you can if you want to play this with your friends and play by email. It's actually derived from a tabletop setting. There's like a pen and paper role-playing game, Fading Suns, where you like play as like a trader captain in this universe. I would love to get my hands on the rule books for that. Do an unboxing or a video if anyone knows where I can get them for cheap. But let's just keep going. So you pick your leader here. In this case, I think we're going to play as Ysara. Could rename her if we wanted to. And there's all of these traits. So you can have like negative traits, like your inbreds, right? It makes rebellions more likely. For those of you who play like Crusader Kings, this was an ideological precursor, a thematic precursor to Crusader Kings in many of Paradox's titles in a lot of ways. Like, you can be decadent, anti-trade, spendthrift, but you can also have like a friend in the church or a warrior ethic. In this case, we're enlightened nobility, so we have better research, better administration, mercantile savvy. The Merchant League likes us, and the Merchant League likes us. So that seems pretty good. You know, we're set up to make some money. So I've got the advisor turned on for this. I'm just going to skip through his cross chatter, but each technology, you know, again, if you played like Masters of Orion or some of those old, like I think that's where the concept might have come from for this. But some of those older space games, or even like Galactic Civilizations, you'll recognize this screen. This is just which technology do we want to research. In this case, I'm going to take psychosocial engineering, which leads to meditation, alien psychology, and special forces. And again, if I click on database, that's interesting. Yeah, so if I click on database, there's like illuminated manuscripts for all of these subsequent ideas, so we can read about the ideas before researching. And there's this deep, well thought out, well written backstory, just phenomenal stuff. And everything in this game has like a codex entry. A lot of games that's secondary, but this game really like it fits the theme and feeling of the world. Yes, I want to research psychosocial engineering. Okay, so now the cons. The cons are it's clunky. It's clunky as shit. So to look around the map, I have to right click on areas. You know, there's no click and drag, there's no middle mouse, there's no scroll wheel, there's no arrow keys, there's no number pad, and there's no WADs. In fact, WADs does the opposite of what you want. I almost just called someone. So right clicking it is, and your wrist tends to get tired after doing it once. So like, I also like, I'm someone who works with his hands. So like on an ergonomic level, maybe not the best, but whatever. So here we've got a fleet, our fleet in the orbit of Istakar. This is our home planet. The fleet, if I click on it, yes, that worked, consists of a cruiser. This is a Vladimir cruiser. When you saw there in the intro video, some frigates, some assault landers. This is integral for bringing troops to the surface of planets, and a bulk hauler. And a bulk hauler can transport troops. It just is better suited to transporting resources. And I'll talk a little bit about how resources are when I go through the planets. But right now, this is my fleet, and I should have another fleet, or at least another ship on. If I go to Byzantium 2, this is the capital worlds, right? So Byzantium 2 is the capital of the empire here. The emperor has recently died, and all of the noble houses are vying for the imperial seat. That's super important stuff. And on Byzantium Secundus, we have a noble from our house. So house nobles are from the incarnate sect. Like, again, it's very, very esoteric and detailed. But house noble requires, in this case, to build 150 iron, 30 computer parts, and 1 singularity. And singularity is a super AI. Which is neat that those are included as resource types that you generate. We've also got like Power Legion troops, missile launchers. Some of these are 3D, some of these are 2D, and I think that's pretty cool too, like the art versus the artillery, anti-tank guns, and yeah, so we're looking at planets to talk about resources. Now, resources, when you mine them, when you produce them, they're physically modeled, and they're like in these repulsor crates that fill up. So this is like half a repulsor crate of food. That will deplete over time as the food is consumed by the forces adjacent to it, and so you have to create like complex supply chains, manage the resources, ship them at an interstellar level or interplanetary level. It's truly like a deep grand strategy. These guys are in a fort, which increases their terrain defense, and they have a freighter with them. So theoretically, I could like load this freighter up with these guys and bring them back to my home planet as an opening move, maybe, because they are on the capital, the Imperial capital city, or the Imperial capital planet. And if war breaks out, like if Decados, which is these guys down here at the green, if they choose to use their starting presence on the Imperial planet to take mine out, my noble could die. And if your nobles die, they die forever. I don't believe there's any way to replace nobles. That's kind of the mechanic with the nobility. And then going back to Istakar, we have our domain. So got a farm with some infantry legion and some militia, anti-tank gun and artillery, and then we've got our palace. And the palace is the imperial capital. So the farm produces food, and the palace is where the seat of government is. I think there's a way to move the palace or to build new ones. Again, it's been like a decade. But I'm trying, this is the second time I've opened this up in 10 years. Scepters are really important. Scepters represent 1 imperial vote. So if you conquer someone else's capital and take their scepters, you've absorbed their voting power. Meaning that if you have 5 scepters and they have 5 scepters, you have 10 scepters. It would require 2 other factions to counter you on, and the voting issues are like, does this player win the game? Yes or no? Like, so at a certain point, the fight to control these scepters is everything in the game, and that's like a mid-game strategy. Late game, there's actually like a xenomorph, like alien invasion from outside the not known world, but from off the map, basically. I remember engineers being really powerful. I think they are the units that can build new facilities. I think that's how that works. And again, you got 5 nobles, or 4. You have 4 nobles, so 5 total. 4 nobles in your capital to start. They're safe, but the one on the Imperial planet is not. And to make the capital extra safe, there's this shield. And the shields, see, it's got metal and food as well stored in the city. The shield protects the tiles around it, meaning that those units are not vulnerable to bombardment. They can't be killed as easily. We've got a priest. I didn't remember what priests do. See, it's just so detailed. It's got all of this depth. We're talking some tanks, some self-propelled artillery, and officers. And so having a noble or an officer in your army stack when you go to fight something is going to increase the stats for that unit and therefore give them a better chance of succeeding. I don't know what's up here. Oops, no, I don't want to give orders right now. These buildings over here in the gray are rebel facilities. I think this fort here is a rebel facility as well. So, you know, a good opening move would be to link up all my troops in the capital here, which I think I'm going to do with an officer. And it's hard to get the right click, left click stuff going on here. I'm just going to basically move everybody in one big army stack. That makes sense, right? No, not what I wanted to do. So let's try that again, shall we? There we go. There we go. Now we're talking. Everybody but those two militia. It's going to go to there. Okay. Is there a way to quickly select all? Yes, it's that button.
Unit spotted.
Right. So we just got intel on enemy units, and at this facility we've got. Oh, look at this. So yeah, we can crush them, but they have a spy. Right, I don't even know what spies do. Spies, what's a spy? And an assault lander. So they could potentially take off and land this unit somewhere else on the planet. They fly up into orbit and then they come back down. If I don't have a fleet in orbit, I can't stop them from doing that. Just really well thought out. Really well thought out. Let's see if I can fight them. I don't actually know how fighting works. No? These guys, oh, these units don't have any moves left is what's going on. So I could attack if I wanted to lose the benefit of my... okay, no, that's... So we're gonna stick with that. And everybody else, you know, I'm probably gonna kick the turn forward because I don't... you know what, I'm actually gonna move these up as supplemental backup. Might as well move out all my soldiers right now. Okay, that's the end of the turn. Yeah, you know, you can go into diplomacy. You can start like calling people, leveraging them. You know, you've got all this diplomacy. Give me a ministry if you're elected. So ministries, future favor could be useful, but like, so you can trade with someone for a future favor and then call it in. But if I go to Byzantium Secundus. Ministries are these things. The ministry, like the Ministry of the Stigmata, Ministry of the Imperial Eye, the Spy Agency, Ministry of the Imperial Fleet. Like, it's so cool. This is like deep politics and very smart. I don't remember the AI being particularly good. This is definitely a game that shines when you play with other players. You know, if there were other players, I could send a message to them. And play by email. I mean, you can also do hot seat. I think like two people can play at the same computer, one turn to another. But if you're doing play by email, like they would receive your message as an email when you send the mission file to the next player in the queue. Genius stuff. Anyway, let's just kick the turn over.
House Al-Malik.
Now we know psychosocial engineering. Let's go into, we don't have the ability to do special forces yet. I would like to learn physics. Yes. And so he's got a ranged space attack. I forget how that works too. Cruiser. There's some way for the cruiser to bombard the surface, I'm pretty sure. There we go. So let's hit these rebels at the fort. We're not at war with the Imperial Eye. It's an Imperial Eye fort. What is the Imperial Eye? Oh, they're not rebels. Those aren't rebels. Those are that's the see, that's the Ministry of the Imperial Eye. So that's a fort. See, I almost attacked the government just for being on my planet. It's kind of the way it works. So let's go back to space and we'll cancel that. Go look at the planet. All right, let's move our hexes then, or move our units then to attack these rebel towns over here. Oops. Click, click. Click, there we go. It's very counterintuitive, this right click, left click business. It's been so long. Okay, now we're making sense. Now our troops are headed in the right direction.
House Al Malik.
So the symbiotes, this is the like Zerg or Tyranid faction originating from the planet of Karnobog, named for the Russian Black God. And they've captured a city on the planet of Absolution. House Azat wants me to trade technologies with them again. Like this, I don't know if it predates Sid Meier's Civilization, but they got some of their best ideas from this for sure. Like Civ 2 did not have all of this, and this just did it better. Also, the art is so cool. Like I wish more games were made like this now. You know, they keep trying to make games like this, but they keep coming out as just generic. And this is, you can trade map info from planets. Oh, I forgot that. So now we can see each other's. Okay. Okay. Accept. There we go.
House Al
Take
Malik.
the turn over. Okay, now I can research composite armor. He's going to give me some cash in exchange for the technology. At a certain point, you start to like, am I losing an advantage here by selling this tech? Like, am I better off not giving them composite armor? But, you know. Wait, so the units don't move themselves.
Unit spotted.
That's a rebel farm. Oh, I had a rebellion at my farm. That was unannounced. We got some partisans there. Now we get to do a little fighting, I guess. Of course, when in doubt, nuke from orbit. This should work just fine. Okay, that damaged the farm, didn't damage the... That makes sense. Didn't damage the partisans at all, because you're shooting little tiny people from orbit, but you definitely hit the buildings they're in. That dramatic music. I remember the music in this being pretty good. Okay, I'm just gonna give these guys individual move orders, because they clearly are fucking it up. I'm wasting turns.
House Al Malik.
There's my special forces. So the Orthodox Patriarch has deemed neurocellular surgery odious to humanity. What does that mean? That means that if I research neurocellular surgery, I'm going to lose standing with the church. So at a certain point, excommunication is almost a given for a faction, but you want to avoid it as long as possible because that can cause massive political complications and massive complications in relations with other factions. Okay, so I'm not going to bombard the planet again. Let's just do a good old-fashioned infantry attack. You can do a normal attack, an assault attack, a feint attack. In this case, we're going to assault them, and it'll immediately eliminate them because we had overwhelming superiority. So we took the farm back, and I guess you got to keep troops stationed. That's what's going on here. By the way, what's this? The Agora is the trade union, or the merchant league. The merchant league, that's what they're called. So I could buy singularities or like things you can't get from them, but at incredible cost. You know, how much money do I have? So I can't even afford one singularity, but I can afford almost anything else in some quantity, which maybe I could then later parlay into materials to produce a singularity, or I could make singularities and sell them. Like there's a fully realized and deep economics system. Also, if I was really desperate, I could just take a stack of troops and take the Merchant League's building, which would give me immediate access to the stockpile of resources here, but of course would seriously compromise my long-term standing and relations with them. So that's not ideal, you know. But it's just a really, really smart, well-written well-implemented strategy game. I haven't... take this entire stack. Can I move them one further? No, I can't. That's fine. And we're gonna kick the turnover again.
House Al-Malik.
Advanced nanotech is now odious to humanity. The patriarch's making a grab for the nanos. I see what's going on here. And the symbiotes are capturing cities. And I'm still selling my techs. House Decados. Why not? Sure. Okay. We continue our slow march here. So this is a new metal that's been produced. I don't actually know how it's accounted or whether I have to send it somewhere. I don't remember that. I guess in this case I'm going to send all of my produced materials to the shield dome, or at least they are accounted for. And I forget how to... Okay. I can sleep units permanently. Yeah, so the shield dome does seem to be a good gathering place for sleep units permanently. I don't know what the priest does. So I can change sects, religious sects based on, and I can build some things at the church. That doesn't quite make sense to me. I guess every building can build. Can every building build? And some buildings can build more complex stuff, maybe. Like my fort can probably build. Yeah, the fort can build more complex stuff. That's neat. I don't know where offhand really complicated things are built. Factory, yeah. So yeah, and you can build aircraft. So it's so detailed. It's like there's never been a game like this since. I don't think. If I'm wrong, correct me. If you can think of a title like this, not Everspace. There was some. The space game came out last year, 2 years ago, 2017, that had some degree of like surface and space combat, but this is a game that really truly has like space grand strategy and surface micromanagement. It would be like if Stellaris and Europa Universalis had a baby and it was good. That's my summary at the 22-minute line here. That's my summary of this game. So I'm going to take this town out, and then I'm probably going to call it. We're just going to keep sleeping units. Yeah, just let's send the food to the shield dome. A little bit of lag there. Okay, and we'll sleep our units on Byzantium, and we'll sleep our fleet too, because
House Al-Malik.
there we go. Now the Genetic Warrior Legion is odious. Yeah. Right, whatever.
Unit spotted.
So the neat thing about this is these have to be stored. Like eventually you wind up with like too much material in storage, and finding places to keep stacks of stuff becomes a problem. You got to build like new facilities and protect them. I might do that to figure out how to build new facilities. Where's my engineer? Is my engineer? No, that's not how to do it. How do I select only the engineer? Only the engineer. There we go. Double click. I don't actually know how to build. Maybe you can't build. Okay. Let's start sleeping that. Yep.
House Al-Malik.
Oh, we learned Special Forces, so now right away I'm going to learn Infantry Legion. And you can see I'm going with an agenda here. She's demanded all of my votes for the next election, or she'll make me regret it. House Hazat, fuck you. House Decados, fuck you. Okay, well, let's check to see what's on this tile. We got a farm with some actual resistance on it now. They have, it's the Ukrainian army. We've got some militia, we've got an anti-tank gun, we've got anti-aircraft weapons, and partisans. Okay, so I think I can safely, but we're going to do it defensively. Taking some damage. Some of my units ran away, but we killed the shit out of them. And we captured the city.
House al-Malik.
Keep demanding my votes. I think they think I'm a pushover. We're gonna assault now. Wipe out that last unit. And capture the city. Nope, that's not what I want to do. I'd like to move this unit.
Unit spotted.
Capture that mine. What's on that mine? Nothing. Full scale assault here. We get armor. It doesn't matter. So I guess if you leave a facility completely unstaffed, it has a chance of rebelling. That seems to be what's going on here. I don't remember how exactly all this works. Oops. I found ruins. Inhabited. Whoa! Ruins inhabited by alien bug things, and they killed my engineer. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, we're gonna have to turn the army around now, aren't we? I can't be left roaming around.
House al-Malik.
So I have 5 votes to cast for the Imperial Regent's position. I am of course going to vote for myself. Probably just send that tank to deal with those infantry. For some reason it can't. I guess it can't move off into the forest there. But yeah, you wind up with like weird situations where like there's enemy or rebel units wandering around the countryside. Well, yeah, there's a horde of alien bugs on your planet, and like it is possible within several turns to like secure your home planet. You'd have to go up here and capture these towns, and just like I found that ruin there's other little Easter eggy things around. I do not believe you can build facilities now that I think back on it. I think the engineers are for attacking, not defending, not building or developing. It would be cool if you could build and expand your road network and stuff. Like putting a bridge in this tile would make sense since I'm losing a turn every time moving units across it. But of course, like, to go back to space for a second, once I've developed Istakar, I got to expand, right? I would maybe go to Aelon, or what do I connect to up here? Lemminkainen. And I have to send a ship there to scan the planet first. And the Merchant League has just shown up to resupply their Agora where I trade. Again, just like such a brilliant, deep, and fully featured real-time strategy game. Again, I give this one a 10 out of 10. This is this is the gold standard of deep space games, gold standard of sci-fi settings. Very similar to Dune, but different enough. It's got like the Harkonnens and the Atreides, the houses, like it's got all that, but You know, we started a little lower, but we're doing okay. We're catching up to the first mark, which are the Decados, and everyone else is growing a little bit. Yeah, just a phenomenal game. So that's it for me for now. This has been Emperor of the Fading Suns, a two-dimensional space grand strategy game from the 90s. This is very retro, very retro. If you like watching me play these retro games, let me know what you think down in the comments. Subscribe to my channel, throw me a like, share my videos, follow me on Twitter, pomo_cowboy. Yeah, as always, see you in space.